Started. Welcome to the OKD Working Group meeting for June 10th of the year 2023. Please take a few moments to look at the agenda and let us know if there's anything that you want to tweak. We'll spend about 30 seconds looking at that, and then we'll get started. And be sure to put your name in the attendees section so that we know that you were here. Right, anything need to change, need to move around? Folks comfortable with the agenda? All right, excellent. All right, let's jump into it with OKD release and CI/CD updates with, looks like it's going to be you, Luigi.
Yeah. So basically, Alex and Shireen, myself, were busy working in porting the existing pipelines for SCOS and our release process to MOC. The MOC cluster, OKD cluster. There are problems. So we have problems with like service accounts, and there was another one with PVs and PVCs. So hopefully we're going to get that sorted out. So unfortunately, we're still in a place where we can't do our sprintly release, and we can't do nightly builds of SCOS. So it's still going to take a while. Hopefully next week we'll have everything up and running. We're hoping. I don't know, Alex, do you want to add anything else to that?
No, I think that's it. We are in a place where we are trying to stabilize all the pipelines, and we are still working on that.
Excellent. Well, thank you for your efforts. Please pass that on to everyone else who's involved that can't make it to the meeting today.
Cool, will do. Thanks.
Awesome. Anything else along those lines?
No, that's it.
Okay. Let's see. FCOS updates. I don't see Timothy or Dusty. I'm going to assume that means that they don't have anything. Let's move on then to SCOS updates, if anyone here can provide any updates to that.
No, I don't think Christian or Vadim are around, but I do know that Christian did give a talk at the DevConf, which was held in Brno over the weekend, well, on Friday. And the talk, I think, is available for viewing. I haven't got the URL. I think, Alex, you might have the URL because you watched his talk. And I think it would be quite interesting because it relates to SCOS and SCOS build. So, and Shireen, Alex, Alessandro, and Christian gave a talk together as well. So there's two talks, and we might just add them to the link. So if anyone's interested, it's pertaining to SCOS and how we built SCOS and the pipelines for OKD and that type of thing.
Okay. And that actually takes an item. I had that as an item for the end of the meeting, and I'll just pull that since we now have that. Okay, yeah, links, if any links you can drop would be awesome. Let's see, any other updates along those lines?
No, that's it.
Okay, then moving on to community development updates. Brian.
Okay, so last week we had another one of our focused sort of working sessions where we looked at the OKD operator catalog. It was largely a sort of level setting discussion where we went through where the information is around operators, OLM, how it all hangs together, how it works, what resources are needed. Yeah, it's quite a good session. We had some help from Red Hatters that contribute to the operator framework. So that was very, very useful. I guess now we just need to make sure that we don't let the momentum drop and we keep going. I've certainly been looking and noodling around since last week, trying to work out what should a process look like. I do have a ton of questions, so again, I think it's going to be useful trying to get a few people together to actually have those discussions. I think, again, I'm going to have to sort of find some red hatters to help understand some of the internal processes. But it was a very good session. I certainly think it might be worth making the next one, so not next week, the week after, also about the operators. But I'm open to suggestions. We can discuss that next week. Although, just to let you know, Jamie, I'm not here next week. I'm going to be on a beach somewhere, and I'm not taking my laptop with me, so I won't be joining.
That sounds cool, Brian.
Yes, I'm one of these people. When I'm on holiday, I'm on holiday. I don't take laptops, work laptops, personal laptops, anything. I'm just going to sit and do nothing for a week.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so that's really it. In terms of the rest of the stuff, there have been quite a few sort of messages flying around the post again. A little concerned that Vadim seems to be getting targeted. There's a lot of @Vadims going on, so I think we may have to go and have another discussion around that. Just very aware. He's very, very attentive in answering the questions, but I'm also aware that he's getting targeted quite a bit with people asking directly to him. Which I see that you have got something there in terms of the Must Gather session. I think that's one of his most common comments. Give us the required information. There are a couple of other things that I'll bring up for attention for you to discuss next week. There's a pull request on the docs website and a couple of other things that I've seen coming, but I'll send you a note after this, Jamie, to pick up next week.
Yeah.
Just a quick comment. Alex and myself in this last week, we have OpenShift week. And so what we did was we created a really simple introduction on how to develop an operator from scratch. And so what we did was we've actually pushed it to the OKD project. I think it's called OKD Sample Operator, with a README on how to do everything. And then we've added a very opinionated makefile that you can use and embed that makefile is used in the other project that we did, the OKD operator pipeline. And so what it does is it will build your whole operator for you, build the bundle, build the index, and then push everything, the bundle, index, everything into a catalog. So you've got all the necessary info there. We encourage people, play with it, break it, give us feedback. I know it's very opinionated, but it's a quick start, a guide to get people to start working on it. I think that's what we sort of wanted out of this.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
And I guess the other thing that, Luigi, Alex, when you've got the pipelines working, I think it'd be good if we can work out how we can get them documented, or how we can get them some information about them put on the site so people can actually pick them up and look at them and maybe get them running locally if they wanted to do like a local build.
Yes,
so
yes.
I think that'd be a useful activity just to help.
Yeah, because that's how we proofed it on for the sample operator. We ran it locally using Kind, and so you can build everything from scratch. You build your operator, run tests. I've even added a Golang linting CI in there as well, and so on and so forth. And then it'll then build the bundles and indexes. But you're right. I think it does deserve a bit of a bigger explanation on what the tasks are doing and what we're trying to accomplish there.
Okay. That's it, Jen.
Yeah, that's it. The only other thing is the survey. Survey is out, so please, there's a link to it pinned in the Slack channel. I should probably pin it in the Matrix channel, and I sent an email out to the working group. So get people to fill out the survey. It's super, super helpful to help us, to guide us moving forward. So yeah, the next item actually is, Brian and I are, in sync on this. Vadim is getting tagged directly, and in general, we want to build knowledge on OKD and troubleshooting OKD so that the community can actually provide some level of community support specific to OKD. So I think it was Elmiko had said that, yeah, there's a video out there somewhere for must gather, but let's start fresh. I think let's actually have a session. It can be one of the community sessions, or we could do it during this meeting, but let's get everyone together that we can who has knowledge of using a must gather to debug an issue, so that we can start building some knowledge around where do you start. I mean, that's literally like, over 100 logs, right? 100 different log files to pick through, and it would be helpful to know, like, okay, if you're troubleshooting something, where do you start? What's your thought process in starting and navigating through this bundle? What do folks think about that? Does this seem like a reasonable proposition?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. That sounds
Okay.
nice. Yeah.
I think one of the other things that always gets me, Jamie, is depending on the error, as you said, it's trying to map what you're seeing on the cluster to where to start looking, because I don't think there's a one place fits all. And I think as I read some of the messages, I'm continually finding out new bits of the system that I didn't even know existed.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's where the challenge for a lot of people is. It's like you don't even know what you don't know yet. So if you're fairly new to this, just understanding, I mean, even just how CoreOS works, just how does the ignition bit work? How does that? And again, I think just having a useful set of resources would go a long way in terms of, you need to know how some of the fundamentals of CoreOS work, what's in the ignition file, how does the boot sequence work. I think a lot of that is quite difficult to go find in the documentation. So I think that, along with the must gather, because I think you have to have a little inkling about where the sort of area is that's going wrong to help you hone in on the must gather. That's my feeling. I don't know whether I'm totally wrong there, but that's my feeling, that you need to have an inkling that, oh, it's my network that's broken, or oh, it's an authorization problem, or it's a hardware mismatch, or.
Sure. Well, I think that we can do two sessions then, right? We can do a CoreOS session and a must gather session. Maybe do you want to start with the CoreOS then, since that's sort of foundational to it overall, and then move towards doing one that's must gather? Does that make sense, logic wise?
Yeah, maybe with the machine config operator and CoreOS, how they work together to actually do the sort of the stand up. Does that make sense, Luigi?
Yeah. Luigi?
Yeah.
All right, so who do we want for this? We definitely want, well, we want Elmiko for machine config operator, definitely, right? That's his people.
I was actually wondering, did he not already do a session on a must gather, or was he planning to do one?
I thought he had said that he had done one.
He did one on how the PROW system and where to go find logs.
Yes, that one is live.
He was going to do one on the must gather, but I don't think it was ever done.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So let's I don't know, we'll talk about it at the community development meeting, but do folks, well, let me ask you this. Do folks want to do it at a community development meeting? Or does it make more sense to do it at the technical meeting, since theoretically Dusty or Timothy are going to be here?
Is it going to be better to do it as a discussion, or to have someone present a logical set of information?
Well,
I guess
yeah, I mean, we could ask, let's see, we could ask, who could we ask from that team? We could ask Dusty, we could ask Timothy, we could ask, who else would be a good person to
Christian.
ask?
Christian would also have.
Christian,
good,
yeah. And then who else am I thinking of? Who else would be good for
So
that?
I think it should be at least semi-staged, because if we do it completely live, I think there's a lot of opportunity for things just kind of go off the rails. Like, you know, you're just getting lost in some technical details instead of kind of making progress through the mass gather, and then the half an hour or hour is up without you actually making even 10% progress. So it should be, maybe there should be some kind of agenda or you know, like,
oh yeah, we would definitely
script.
Yeah, we would definitely set up an agenda to make sure that things stayed on time. I'm definitely amenable to that. Okay, I will reach out to Dusty and Timothy and Christian and organize them to present on CoreOS. Miko was out last week, and this week he's back next week. So I'll reach out to him as well to get something for machine config operator. Are we thinking a half an hour each? Or do we want to space it out and have an hour for CoreOS, an hour for machine config operator, and then an hour for MustGather?
I don't know how interrelated they are, and whether it makes sense to combine them or have them separate.
I could see maybe a 40-20 split of an hour for FCOS or CoreOS in general and machine config operator, because machine config operator is actually not that complicated once you like dig into the details. But I'm sure they could work out a way to weave that together, right? So maybe we'll do one session with those two and then another session with MustGather.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right. Okay, so I will set that in motion. Is there anything else that folks want to talk about? We've gone through our agenda.
Just a heads up, Alex, Shireen, and myself will be away next Tuesday. We're having our team face-to-face, so we won't be around.
Nice. So how often are these team face-to-face meetings?
Well, we try and have them once every quarter, but it's not possible at the moment. You know, things are, I think from a budget perspective, a bit difficult, but yeah, we try and do it once a quarter. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, it's really great that you can all get together to be face-to-face. That's cool.
Yeah.
It does mean you're going to be a bit thin on the ground next week, though.
Yeah, thanks. Well, and that's the community development meeting, so we can make use of some of the other stuff that we have pending and maybe update the planning board and some of the other stuff, take advantage of that. So awesome. All right, well, thanks folks, and we'll set things in motion on the CoreOS machine config operator and MustGather. And if anyone can, please try to chip in on the channels, because Vadim is getting I mean, he's handling it like a total pro, but if it were me, and I think any one of us getting tagged all the time like that, I think would be distracting and a little bit frustrating. Like we should support him and in general grow the community. So anytime you can chip in, please do.
Excellent. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.